Think back to your first day of junior high. You walk in and suddenly nothing feels familiar. You don't know how to open your locker. You're trying to figure out how class changes work. Everyone else seems to know where to sit at lunch, and you're just standing there with your tray, wondering what the rules are. That feeling, not knowing the expectations, is actually connected to something sociologists call culture. Sociologists want to understand how people learn the rules of society, why different groups have different rules, and how those rules shape people's opportunities, behavior, and experiences. By studying culture, sociologists can better understand things like inequality, conflict between groups, social change, and even why people sometimes misunderstand each other. I'm that sociology teacher, and today I'm going to explain what culture is, the difference between material and non-material culture, and the main elements of culture, with lots of real-life examples. Culture is the shared way of life of a group of people. It includes what people do, what they believe, what they value, and how they behave. Culture is all around us, shaping everyday life, from the foods we eat to the ways we greet each other, to what we consider polite or rude, or to how we celebrate holidays. Culture has two main parts. Material culture is defined as the physical objects people create and use. This includes things like phones, clothes, cars, cowboy hats, or religious objects. For instance, if you walk into someone's room and see posters, gaming consoles, or sports equipment, those items are examples of material culture. Non-material culture is defined as the ideas, beliefs, and ways of thinking that influence behavior. Examples include beliefs about right and wrong, religious values, ideas about success, traditions, and gender expectations. You can't touch non-material culture, but it shapes how people act and make decisions. Understanding culture, both material and non-material, helps us see how shared ways of life shape our behavior, our expectations, and even how we interpret the actions of others. It also helps us navigate new cultures with awareness and respect. Culture is made up of the shared ideas, behaviors, and objects that guide how people live and interact. Sociologists break culture down into key elements: symbols, language, values, beliefs, and norms to better understand how societies create meaning, shape behavior, and maintain social order. Symbols are objects or gestures that have shared meaning. Sociologists study symbols because they help us understand how groups create shared meaning and identity. Examples would include that a wedding ring means commitment, a stop sign means stop, or that a heart symbol means love. Sociologists might ask, who decides what symbols mean? Do symbols mean the same thing in every culture? Or how can symbols include some groups but exclude others? Language is how people communicate. Sociologists study language because it shapes how people think, connect, and even how power works in society. Examples would include regional words like y'all or you guys, or slang like cool or next level. Language helps people connect and shapes how we think. It can also signal group membership, like belonging to a generation, a region, or a subculture. Values are what a culture says is important. Sociologists study values because they can help explain why societies make certain laws, reward certain behaviors, and create certain institutions. Examples could include that individual success is highly valued in the United States, or that community harmony is highly valued in many collectivist cultures, or that education is highly valued in many families. Values influence everything from school systems to economic systems. Beliefs are what people think is true. Sociologists study beliefs because beliefs shape behavior and social systems, even when beliefs aren't scientifically proven. Examples could include believing that hard work leads to success, religious beliefs about life after death, or beliefs about luck or fate. Beliefs can influence voting, education, healthcare choices, and even social movements. Norms are rules for behavior. Sociologists study norms because norms help maintain social order. Examples could include saying thank you, waiting your turn in line, or raising your hand in class. Norms tell us what behavior is expected in different situations. Folkways are informal norms. If you break a folkway, people might judge you, but you won't get in major trouble. Sociologists study folkways because they show how everyday behavior is socially controlled. Examples would include wearing pajamas to the store or eating pizza with a fork. Folkways often change over time, which helps sociologists study social change. Mores are serious norms tied to morality. Sociologists study mores because they are closely connected to laws, social control, and what societies define as right and wrong. Examples include laws against stealing, expectations about honesty, or rules about harming others. Breaking mores can lead to serious consequences, including legal punishment or social exclusion. Culture shapes how we see the world, what we eat, how we act, how we communicate, and what we believe is right and wrong. It shapes how we define success, how we treat other people, and even how we see ourselves. Culture influences the opportunities people have, the expectations placed on them, and how society responds to them. And it can shape things like education systems, laws, media, and social institutions. This is why sociologists study culture, because culture helps explain why societies are different, why conflict sometimes happens between groups, and why social change happens over time. When you understand culture, you start to understand why people behave the way they do, not just as individuals, but as members of groups and societies. And once you start noticing culture, you'll see it everywhere, in school rules, in social media trends, in music and movies, in how people talk, in what people think is normal, and what people think is strange. And one of the biggest goals of sociology is helping us step back and realize that the way we do things isn't the only way. It's just one cultural perspective among many. Thank you for watching. Check out the link below for the 2 short activities where students examine the difference between material and non-material culture, and another one where they create a fun field report documenting the specific elements of culture.